Joni, can you tell us how it feels to win and also the meaning of these particular awards in general?
Okay, well, because one was a graphic art award and one was a musical award, and because in recent time, well, last year I was going to quit the music business and just paint, you know, and then along came a wonderful drummer and a wonderful new invention in terms of electronic, I don't know what to call it. It's a brain that you play a Stratocaster through, but it's a new palette of colors for me. So it gave me a kind of a new creative surge, and it reinterested me in the musical process. But in a way, I kind of wanted to. I was being drawn further and further into the painting. So since the awards came out that way, I thought, well, I'll leave it up to fate. If I win for the art, you know, like, well, then I'll go into painting if I win for the music. But then I didn't think I'd win for either. They both seemed like kind of like long shots. How did it feel? It was delightful. Victory is indeed sweet. But it was sweeter because I got to share both of these awards with people who are very close to me. My ex-husband, to be, and my dear friend Robbie. You know, we paint together. So since, you know, you're sharing it, I guess that's what bands before they break up, you know, Klein and I are breaking up, but we're not as a band, you know, like we're just living in two different houses. So yeah, it was sweeter to win with friends, I think, than it would have been if I had won alone.
How do you feel right now?
Exhausted. I haven't slept in 2 days. Big sellers, yeah. I don't know how that happened. I don't. It means it's an honest horse race.
Joni?
I don't know. I think, was it this, you know, I've done a lot of good work and never been even nominated for it, so I don't know. Was it the sympathy vote? I don't know.
Joni,
it was a good album, but there were a lot of good albums that never got nominated. I don't know. Things undulate. Who knows?
Joni, how do you
Somebody
feel?
gave me an award. People are copycats, you know, like, so then somebody else gave me an award. I think it's the year to give me awards.
Joni, they're calling it the Year of the Woman, this Grammys.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that, being one of those women being honored?
Well, like I hate to be redundant, but as I said in an earlier, is this our only year? Do we get a year?
There's so many women being nominated and winning. How do you feel about that, witnessing so much in the industry?
I don't know. I don't like to think that way. You know, I never thought that I was a lonely woman in a man's world. I had a couple of feminist attacks when I discovered how high the battering rate was on women and things, and you know. But I try not to think about it. I'm a heterotype. I like the company of men. I've been traveling on the road with guys for a long time, as you are in this business, you know. So I tend to think that creative people are somewhat androgynous anyway, and great art embodies masculine and feminine aesthetics. I just don't want to belong to a gender club, you know what I mean? Although there are issues like, you know, 50% of the women in this country are battered, 60 in some regions, you know, like that are kind of appalling. We're in some sort of, I guess they, you know, and a lot of it happens on the big football game. You know, do they bring the beer warm, or they just take it out because their team lost? Or I mean, why? You know, like, you know, we're in a state of cultural adjustment, obviously.
Joni, I'm curious, you talked about your music and your art, both art forms. Is there something that you can grasp as to what each one does for you and why it was that you were being drawn more towards the art, and then what you mentioned what drew you back, but why you were being drawn between the two, and can you draw a distinction there?
Yeah, I was fed up with the music business. I wanted out. It made me sick to my stomach. I was having nightmares, you know, that snakes were flying. Snakes are the symbol of loathing in my subconscious. Were flying through the air at me, and what was keeping them buoyant? CDs. They were flying. They, like, you know, like in The Little Prince, he swallows the hat or something. They'd swallowed CDs, albums, and 45s, and Sidewinders were coming off of 24-inch track in the ditches of this place. You know, I thought, yeah, it's pretty clear to me. I loathe this business and I want out. So I called a meeting of the executives at Warner Brothers, told them my nightmare, said, I don't mind being a sharecropper, but I will not be a slave. You know, the only alternative I have is to go on strike. And they turned out to be some decent guys, and they said, I don't see why we can't make this a win-win deal. You know, so I ran into some fairness. And then I ran into a great drummer, and then a local merchant who knows how to put the right guitar with the right person, who knew all of my problems with my open tunings had created the frustrations that I have. Well, you saw the album cover of me with my ear cut off. I was very frustrated, you know.
So now do you think that, first of all, have the nightmares stopped, and
Oh, yeah.
will these help?
Well, this is just sweet, you know, like, and I think all of us, Robbie, you know, the recognition that for that album cover, it was sweet to both of us. And for Klein and I, we've made 5 albums together, so I kind of look at it as not just being for this one, but for all our work together. And it was nice. It helped me a lot. Thank you. No. No.